feels like Sunday morning. Can you hear the birds chirping? The call of spring. There is a concept that is widely spread among humans, people, that basically makes people think that they are somehow behind what they should be. It is a very destructive thought process. Always thinking you're behind someone else. It starts at a young age. School children thinking they're behind their older siblings, or younger school children thinking they're behind their older school children's siblings, or at work, people thinking that they're behind their colleagues in terms of progress up the corporate ladder or whatever, or at school, later schools, universities, things like that. Students think that they're behind their classmates, not physically sitting behind them, but behind them either intellectually or academically, because they haven't completed as much of the curriculum as these other people have over more time in the facility, in the university, in the college. Right? That kind of thought process is very negative. It's not motivational. Right? It doesn't make you ambitious. It's not like, oh, I'm behind, I have to catch up. No. I mean, sure, you could have that, and that's a positive way to look at it, but that's not how most people effectively live that out. Instead, what happens is people get stuck in the I'm behind loop, and then they think, I'll never catch up. I'm always behind. I won't catch up. And so they fall into negative loops, and they get eventually, sad or depressed or whatever. Now, why am I mentioning any of this on a channel that typically talks about trading and crypto and Bitcoin and things like that? Well, because as people who do marketing, we also run into issues when we have people on our teams who think they're always behind, who always have catching up to do, who aren't ever ahead of the game. Right? And in trading, so in trading, right, people will get into that mind loop that they won't ever be able to catch up to their friends, their colleagues, their competitors. And what does that do? That creates an internal negative feedback loop from the trader to himself or herself. And that is a very bad way to trade, generally speaking. Now, are there people who are motivated by negative feedback loops? Sure, there are. A lot of them are masochists, but in general, it's a pretty rare set that actually get optimized by having a negative feedback loop and using that to motivate them, and using that motivation to actually do what's necessary to overcome the issues and find success. Why do I mention that? Well, because a lot of people, especially when it comes to trading, will reinforce their negative feedback loops, especially in the head. psychology or whatever. They'll get stuck in their head. Oh, I lost that trade. I can't win the next one. I lost those trades. I won't win the next ones. That kind of things. I don't know what I'm doing. I should just quit. Okay. Maybe you should just quit. Right? But don't let yourself get stuck in a state of constant fear and paralysis. Paralysis because you're worrying about what may happen, what could go wrong, instead of focusing on how to do the right thing, how to make the trade successful. Because after all, that's why you're in it. If you are a trader, what you should care about is trading. When you sit at your desk, or whatever device you use and where you sit, or whatever position your body is in when you're trading, I highly recommend sitting at a desk or standing at a desk with large monitors and hooked up to a decent computer. I do not recommend trading on mobile devices. Now, I will say that mobile devices, tablets or phones, as long as they have a decent connection to the internet, and I don't mean sharing the same Wi-Fi or the same router that you use from your connected computer, right? Preferably your computer has a hard line and not a Wi-Fi connection to your router, so that it's as fast as possible. And hopefully you have if you have a mobile device, that you have a regular cellular connection to the internet, not just Wi-Fi through your house router. And that way, in case of emergencies, like if suddenly your home internet router stops working, and hopefully you have a different provider for your phone than you do for your house router, then you can always close any trades that happen to be open via your mobile device. And that's obviously a very important thing to be able to do very quickly. So I definitely recommend leaving the app open, or making sure it can log in extremely quickly if it's not open, to whatever exchange you're using when you're actually trading, and make sure that you know how to close positions extremely quickly if you have to. Because what happens if the market starts to tumble in the wrong direction of your trade? Say you're going short and it starts to bounce up high, or it's going long and it starts to fall fast. You're going long and your internet suddenly dies, but you see your positions going nuts and you want to get out as fast as possible, but you can't mark it out on the computer. So make sure you know how to mark it out on the phone or tablet or whatever. If you have to. Again, not an ideal situation, and avoid it if possible by not having bad internet. Obviously, it's not always in your control, and also by only trading with good information and not getting into bad positions in the first place. But it does happen sometimes. You can get bad internet signal, and you could be running a trade with poor information. And then what do? Then the thing to do is very clear. It's just, all you got to do. All you got to do is then open the app and close the position in the app or whatever you're using, to make sure that you don't get stuck in a bad losing position, because you don't want to lose your capital just because the internet went down, right? Temporarily. It's better to just close the position and wait for the internet and everything else to sort itself out. And don't just jump right back on immediately the second it's there, Give it time. If technology gave you a break, go enjoy that break. Go have a coffee or whatever you do during your break, and then come back. Right? And you should be grinding. Right? If you're trading, you should be grinding in the sense of you got to have your time to sit or to focus and do the trades, but you should also recognize that you're a human and technology is what it is. And sometimes when the tech literally gives you, hey, I'm putting the brakes on this situation, you got to take 5-10 minutes off, maybe a half hour, maybe who knows how long. Okay, don't get angry at the network. That'd be silly. Instead, just do whatever else you do. Maybe read some material that helps you remember the different elements that you need to look out for the when you're looking for an occurrence of opportunity. Make sure you're good and clear with what the VEPs are again. The volatility, the entropy, the probability, and the statistics. Make sure that it's all clear. Make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure your assets are all in the right places. And if you're having any issues with the exchange, you always look for different exchanges to be using that you can move around quickly from one to the other, so that you don't have to suffer any technical outages on their end. All right, that's it. Happy trading.